Now let's say we had a triple ratio. So let's say we want to mix a particular hue of paint. Now the hue is how the color looks. Is it green? Is it purple? Is it pink? That's going to be a mixture of colors. Okay? And so if we mix 3 parts red with 2 parts yellow and 1 part blue, as long as the resulting volume of paint that we get when we pour these colors in has these ratios, it'll look the same. So right now we could make 6 gallons, or we could make 6 milliliters, or we could make 6 fluid ounces, or we could make yeah, I guess that's the right idea. So right now, if we considered these units to be the total, we could make 6 gallons, or 6 milliliters, or 6 quarts, and depending on what you want to describe the unit. Alright, and notice if we wanted to double these, then we would get 12. Same thing, and if we wanted to continue, so this would be 3 times the original ratio, right? We would get 18. Well, what if we wanted 15 gallons? That's not an integer multiple of 3, 2, and 1 that would sum to 15. So maybe you could think proportionally, since 15 is in between 12 and 18, so in between 6 and 9, in between 4 and 6, in between 2 and 3. You could do that. But let's do this more systematically, because not all the times do we have this friendliness. You know, what if you wanted to make 13 gallons, right? What if you wanted to make 12.5 gallons? You never know what your customer might want. So we can't always base this on intuition, just by proportionalizing the numbers. So let's figure this out. Right now we got 3 parts to a total of 6. So we could write parts to total. That's what I call this. Some people call this parts to whole. So if you look this up on Google, it's probably going to be parts to whole, not parts to total. That's me. Alright, so we got for red, we got 3 out of 6. For yellow, we got 2 out of 6. And for blue, we got 1 out of 6. Okay, so we want to figure out how much red do we need to make 15 gallons if we know that it takes 3 to make 6. How much yellow do we need to make 15 gallons if we know it takes 2 to make 6? And likewise down here, how much blue do we need to make 15 gallons if we know it takes 1 to make 6? Okay, and then you can cross multiply, so 45 equals 6 times R, divide by 6, right? 30 equals 6 times Y, divide by 6. And 15 equals 6 times B, divide by 6. Alright, and then you can simplify those. This one looks like the only one that's an integer, so it looks like we're going to need 5 gallons of yellow. And here you can divide top and bottom by 3, right? So you get 15 over 2, which so 7.5 gallons of red. And same thing here, you can divide top and bottom by 3, so 5 over 2, which is 2.5 gallons of blue. So notice if you simplify the fractions, then the division's a lot easier. Granted, I know we're going to use calculators, but don't use calculators if you don't really need to. Train your mind to do some of this basic mental math, because it really helps organize your brain. You know, when you think about something numerically, you're creating connections to your brain to the numbers. If you don't do that, when you push buttons, those connections are not being made, so it actually strengthens it. So try to do some of this basic math without always relying on a calculator. Okay, so we got the answers, but if you notice, when we did these equations, we always divided by 6. So we already know the answers. But let's do this a different way. Here, we were just figuring out multiples of the original ratio. So if we had multiplied by 3, we could get a sum of 12. And if we had, multiplied by 2. And if we had multiplied by 3, we could get a sum of 18. So if we could figure out what number to multiply to the 3 original ratios, we could figure out these answers. Alright, so let's say we had 3 times some number we don't know, plus 2 times some number we don't know, plus 1 times some number we don't know, and we want this to be a sum of 15. And then we want to find how much we need to be 15 gallons. So here I'm using K. K is the number we're going to multiply. We know it's not an integer. We know it's in between 2 and 3. Okay, so then we just solve this equation. So we can add our like terms. So we got 3 Ks, we got 2 Ks, we got 1 K. Okay. 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 6. And notice when we do this division, divide by 6. So again, you could think divide both sides by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 15 divided by 6. Or you could think, well, we want K, so this number is 6 times too big. So we got to divide by 6. However you want to think about it. And again, we simplify this. We can divide by 3. Okay, so 2.5. So red would be 3 times 2.5. Yellow would be 2 times 2.5. And blue would be 1 times 2.5. Alright, so 7.5, 5, and 2.5. We get the same answers. And now we can mix this customer's paint. And so notice that the 2.5 is half of the 5 and a third of the 2.5. If you multiply the 2.5 by 2, you get 5. If you multiply the 2.5 by 3, you get 7.5, right? Notice how that's related to the original ratio. Okay, y'all.